Appreciate it. Nick, good morning. It's Thursday. It's Money Clinic morning. How have you been over the last week?
Yeah, been good. Obviously it's raining today in Galway, so there's a bit of a damp start. But markets have been quite kind to me over the last few days. We've seen a bit of a sell-off again this week, as we saw last week. Those inflation worries are still unnerving the markets. There's no massive sell-off. We've seen some big sell-offs in some of the cryptocurrencies, which is a worry for those who are in the cryptocurrencies. Not really me, but some fairly big movements. So we've seen volatility definitely come back into the markets. We're seeing some big movements down in the US indices, but they're tending to recover a little bit into the trading day. So no massive sell-off in equities, but not really the same for some of the cryptocurrencies, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you on the inflationary concerns, which seems to be dominating the financial press at the moment. And you always have to be mindful of the politics involved in anyone's opinion on this. But, you know, the 4% figure, that was a year on year. So the inflation, it was a 4% increase year on year. I was listening to an economist this morning who says he would prefer to wait another 3 or 4 months before arriving at any kind of view, given the fact that we, you know, had our worst recession in 300 odd years. So, you know, we need a wee bit more data to try and form some kind of opinion on, was the monetary policy moves right or wrong? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment. But what you've, I think the thing that's very clear at the moment is demand is greatly exceeding supply. So, and that is the issue. So, and the issue then behind that is if we are going to see inflation quicker or faster, hotter than people were expecting, are the Fed going to move quicker and start to raise interest rates? And then that poses lots of other questions as well, because if investors, you know, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies have been doing fantastically well over the last year and a half, 5 years or whatever, but interest rates have traditionally been very low. So people are looking in other areas, in other places to place their money in order to make a return. But it's, you know, the cryptos are very speculative, but I think interest rates, inflation, I think it's going to continue to run hot for a little bit until supply starts to meet that demand. But it's definitely outpacing it at the moment.
Okay, so one of the reasons that we do create the content at TDP and we do the Money Clinic is to try and improve people's financial literacy. And I have no trading experience. I don't invest in stocks and shares, but can you just very simply explain what a bull market is and what a bear market is?
Well, look, I mean, a bull market is typically when people are still buying equities and the markets are moving higher. So, you know, that's the easiest way to explain it. And a bear market is where, you know, the overriding opinion is that the markets are going to start to fall or are falling, are going to continue to fall. So we use moving averages to dictate exactly where that line is, but that's the easiest way to explain it. So a bull market, everybody's buying, the market's going up. A bear market, people or investors are starting to sell and the market's going down. You know, there are technical ways that you describe things as a bull market or a bear market, depending on exactly where it's trading. But that's probably the easiest way to explain it. So we've been, certainly for the last year, we've been very much in a bull market, you know, where the market's rallied or the Dow's rallied from sort of 18,000 all the way up to 35,000 where it was last week. So very, very much a bull market.
All right, so just on that, so let's talk about the digital gold, right? So let's have a chat about Bitcoin again, because we've spoken about it a few times in Money Clinic. And again, I'm interested because it's really a human behavior thing for me. It's an asset-based, as far as I can see, on sentiment, right? Are we now then, given over the last week, we've seen a bit of a crash and a fall in the Bitcoin price. Is that a bear market?
For Bitcoin, definitely. I mean, what you're seeing is like there's been a few things that have happened. So China came out yesterday, I think it was, and they banned financial institutions from using or trading Bitcoin, offering prices in Bitcoin. And that's had a big effect on the market. And I think you spoke last week about some of the environmental effects of mining as well. And I think there's places like Outer Mongolia, which is a strange place for me to be involved in this, but where they've stopped the mining completely because of the effect that it's having on the electricity in that particular area. So yeah, no, it's I think what we're seeing in cryptocurrency for the time being, like if you go back over the last period since we've been talking, we spoke a lot about retail and retail investors and traders who've been getting into all of these markets. So that some of those stocks that were sold short, GameStop, and some of those, or the cryptocurrency. So we've had this massive rise up. Yeah. And this is the first time that some of those retail traders have now seen a correction. Now, if for seasoned investors, and I don't include myself amongst those, but for seasoned investors, a correction is quite healthy, right? Because it gives people the opportunity to get back into the market. You want to show that
slide that you put up just before with the movement?
Yeah. So I mean, just to give you a really simple view of this, I just looked at 4 of the things that we've spoken about over the last couple of weeks. So Bitcoin, GameStop. I don't know how you say this one. For me, it's Dogecoin and then Coinbase. So Coinbase is the exchange that listed recently on NASDAQ, and where a lot of the cryptos are traded. So just looking at their high for the year so far, the low for the year so far, and then where the price is currently. So Coinbase is trading at its lowest level. Dogecoin is about 50% of its high. GameStop, exactly the same. And then Bitcoin, if you looked at yesterday's move when it went down to 30,000, it was more than 50% off of its high as well. So definitely bear markets technically for those particular products. But the worrying thing I found this morning, listening to some of the the most astute financial advisors, is that people are talking about doubling down. And if you liked Bitcoin at 50,000, you really love it at 30,000.
Yeah.
People have. So how are these retail investors who piled into all of these at the beginning of the year? What are they going to do? Do they stick? Do they twist? Or do they fold? Yeah. And I think it's the first time that they've really experienced that since they started to get involved in these. And it's a tough decision, because if people start to fold, those markets are going lower.
Yeah.
Because you get that added momentum to the downside.
Okay. Well, just wanted to mention I've been out and about Belfast in the last few days, and it's absolutely brilliant to see people are outside eating in restaurants or spending money in shops. Is the same going on? I see this week in the Republic of Ireland, they've awoken, they're awake, the shops are open. Is that the same in Galway, seeing people out and about? And then how do you see this over the next 3 to 6 months? Do you think it's going to be, let's see how it goes? Vaccine, obviously you're catching up in the Republic of Ireland, but we're really sort of starting from scratch. A lot of these businesses and retailers in particular are starting from scratch again. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the shops are open. I can't say I've been to them. I had the vaccine myself on Monday. So I'm 54. That's how slow the process is when you compare it to the US and the UK. So I've got to wait 4 weeks till I get the second vaccine. So whilst things are opening up, it is really, really slow. There's a part of me that says that what they're doing is very cautious, and there's a part of me that is also a little bit grateful for that. But for retailers, bookmakers are open, which I personally I think is a bit of a strange one. But how do you differentiate between non-retail? So what is what should open and what shouldn't open? I don't think they've done that. It's either essential or non-essential. But there are, there's more going on. There's more people about. But the high street for me is a changing landscape all of the time. Businesses are finding it really, really tough, and they're going to do that. And if people don't think about what's going to happen in 6 months' time, they're going to find themselves in a lot more difficulty. There's going to be this euphoria about opening up, and then very quickly it's going to be winter and people are going to be depressed and not going out again.
Well, let's hope. That's our 10 minutes nearly up, but let's hope. I think there is quite a bit of pent up demand, to be honest. And I don't know if it was me, but there seems to be a younger demographic maybe out and about and in the shops, and I suppose glad to get out again. So look, I think
it's definitely you. You're getting older.
Possibly. Listen, thanks again. Another good one this week. I'll catch you again next week. Good man.
All right, take care.